Martell, every time you think he has finally hit rock bottom, another trapdoor opens and he falls even deeper. This latest round of chaos, with the rumors of Martell being banned again by the network and Ariane Curry being rejected before she could even step foot on the show, has fans talking louder than ever before. And the deeper you go into it, the more shocking the details become. So buckle up, because this is going to be a ride you won't forget. Martell was once introduced to viewers as one half of a power couple. Back when Love and Marriage Huntsville first started, people saw Martell and Melody Shari as this shining example of Black excellence. They were building businesses, they were raising a family, and they had this polished image that screamed success. But, as we've learned over the years, appearances can be deceiving. Behind that picture-perfect front was a marriage built on cracks, lies, and betrayals that would eventually explode for the entire world to see. The center of that downfall was Martell's long-term affair with Ariane Curry, a woman who thought she would one day take Melody's place, but instead found herself locked in the shadows of Martell's chaos. From the moment the affair came out, fans were divided. Some couldn't believe Martell would risk his marriage and family for a relationship that looked unstable from the very beginning. Others were furious at Ariane for willingly being part of the destruction of a family. And then there were those who felt nothing but sympathy for Melody, who endured years of pain in the public eye, only to finally walk away and rebuild her life from scratch. Melody's story has become one of resilience and glopes, while Martell's story has been one of spiraling downfall. Fast forward to now, and the situation has reached a boiling point again. Rumors spread that Martell was once again banned by the network, and Ariane Curry was told she would never be welcomed on the show. Imagine that. After years of waiting, after countless online rants, after shading Melody every chance she got, the one thing Ariane thought she was about to achieve slipped away from her once again. It's almost like a cruel joke standing outside the door, convinced it's finally about to open, only to realize it's locked tighter than ever before. Insiders claim Martell went into that meeting with producers, pushing hard for Ariane. He argued that she could bring new drama, that viewers wanted to hear her side, and that her storyline as his partner and the mother of his child deserved to be seen. But when producers pressed him to explain what story she had beyond being the mistress, he struggled. He mumbled about her being a businesswoman with her online boutique, but everyone in that room knew it wasn't enough. The truth is, Ariane's brand is built around being the other woman, and no amount of rebranding or rants online can erase that image in the eyes of fans. Now, put yourself in the producer's shoes. You have an audience that has supported Melody through heartbreak, humiliation, and betrayal. They've watched her leave Martell thrive on her own and become an inspiration to so many women. Could you imagine those same viewers embracing Ariane? The very person who mocked Melody online, called her names, and proudly wore the title of side chick. The backlash would have been instant and brutal, and the producers knew it. That's why, according to insiders, the rejection wasn't just a simple no. It was a firm, not today, not ever. But of course, Martell didn't take the rejection well. Reports say he got heated in that meeting. He accused producers of being biased toward Melody, claimed the network was protecting her while silencing him, and even threatened to expose them. Witnesses say he stormed out, slamming the door, while Ariane sat outside waiting, only to be told minutes later that her big moment wasn't going to happen. And when she heard the news, she allegedly broke down in tears. Imagine that, thinking you're about to step into the spotlight after years of waiting, only to find out you've been shut out again. Social media wasted no time reacting to this story. Some fans laughed, comparing Ariane's tears to an audition for a soap opera. Others said they felt sorry for her, 'cause it's clear she's been holding on to Martell's promises for years, only to be let down time and time again. For so long, she's believed he would make her number one. But the reality is, he hasn't. He hasn't given her a ring, he hasn't made her his priority, and he hasn't given her the stable life she says she wants. Instead, he pulls her into his mess when it benefits him, then pushes her aside when it doesn't. And that's the part fans are tired of. Martell's obsession with forcing Arione into the picture has less to do with her story and more to do with his lingering resentment toward Melody. Viewers are convinced Martell wants to hurt Melody by pushing Arione into the same space, making her uncomfortable and rewriting the narrative. But Melody isn't fazed. She's thriving, traveling, performing, and focusing on her businesses. She barely acknowledges Martell's antics anymore, and that contrast makes Martell look desperate. While Melody shines, he clings to a storyline that nobody wants. Let's not forget, the rest of the cast has their own feelings about all this. Marcia Scott and Letitia Scott, who have dealt with their own share of rumors, often find themselves dragged into Martell's drama. Maurice and Kimmy Scott, who tried to be the voice of reason, have watched Martell unravel for years, hoping he would finally take accountability. Tiffany and Louis Whitlow have even said Martell needs to stop focusing on chaos and start focusing on himself. Yet, here we are again, Martell chasing after a storyline that doesn't exist, dragging Arione along with him, and the network. Well, they're not blind. They see the backlash. They see the sponsors who are uncomfortable being linked to Martell and Arione. Insiders say some companies have even threatened to pull their support if Arione ever appeared on the show. In today's climate, no brand wants to be associated with a woman who mocked a wife and children online, or with a man who can't seem to stop embarrassing himself. That's why, according to whispers, the network is even debating whether Martell himself is worth keeping around. Can you imagine that? Martell, once one of the central figures of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, now at risk of being phased out completely. It would be the ultimate twist. Martell, the man who once thought he was untouchable, finally facing the reality that his chaos is more of a liability than an asset. Fans are already calling for it. Social media is filled with hashtags demanding Martell's removal, mocking Arione's endless waiting game, and celebrating Melody's continued glope. The tide is turned, and Martell seems to be the last one to realize it. When you piece it all together, the story is almost tragic. Martell had everything: a beautiful family, a thriving business, a strong partner in Melody, and he threw it all away. He promised Arione the world, and she believed him. But instead of love and stability, she's been handed rejection, backlash, and heartbreak. And through it all, Melody has risen higher, proving that success really is the best revenge. Fans cheer her on as she collects awards, builds her brand, and sets an example of strength. Meanwhile, Martell and Arione fight for scraps of attention, stuck in the shadows of their own mistakes. Every time Martell tries to spin the narrative, fans shut it down. They remember the lies, the gaslighting, the way he tried to blame Melody for their divorce when his cheating was the real cause. They remember his temper, his clashes with Marcia, his insults toward the cast. And now, they see the desperation in his attempts to push Arione into a spotlight she was never meant to have. The rest of the cast continues to move forward. Marcia and Letitia keep building their businesses and protecting their marriage, even with outside voices questioning them. Maurice and Kimmy show resilience, especially with Kimmy's personal health journey that touched so many fans. Tiffany and Louis bring a different perspective, even if it doesn't always land with viewers. Everyone is carving out their own space, while Martell seems stuck in the past, dragging Arione with him. And that's why this rejection matters so much. It wasn't just about Arione being told no, it was about sending a message that not all drama deserves a platform. Some storylines are too toxic, too damaging, and too empty to give airtime to. By shutting her out, the network drew a line in the sand. They chose to protect the audience, the cast, and even the integrity of the show, rather than chase after chaos that leads nowhere. So here we are. Martell banned once again. Arione Curry rejected before she even got in. And Melody Shari still shining brighter than ever. It's the kind of story that makes you stop and think, how did it all come to this? Was it pride? Was it ego? Or was it simply Martell being his own worst enemy? Fans have their opinions, and they're not holding back. Some say Martell should be cut off completely, that his time is up. Others think the network will keep him around for ratings. Because as much as people complain, they still tune in to see what disaster he causes next. But one thing is certain, the Martell saga is far from over. As long as they keep chasing validation, as long as Martell keeps making promises he can't keep, and as long as Arione keeps waiting for a spotlight that may never come.